Hi, I'm Beck, and I've been asked to share with you a Spinal Tap moment, which I don't know if you've seen the movie Spinal Tap. It's sort of the carnivalesque dictionary of the rock and roll experience in a film, which is in a pseudo-documentary, but it isn't in fact real. So my Spinal Tap moments have been many. I was thinking, oh, there's a good one actually. I was doing a tour for my last album, Midnight Vultures, which was kind of a funk and soul kind of record, and we were putting on these shows that were kind of almost like a punk rock version of a funkadelic show, with horns and backup singers and all this thing. And we were trying to get the audiences into it and getting them moving, and we had a particular run of shows where we just couldn't get the audience into it, or it took a lot of effort. It was the middle of winter. It was a really cold winter. And so after about a month or so of having difficulty with the audiences, I think we'd been on the road for a couple of months at this point. We were really tired. We were in Scotland. It was just bleak winter, really bad winter. And we were playing a show in a theater, and that was the other part. We were playing in all these theaters where there was seats, so everybody would just sit down the whole show. And the band is going crazy, and everybody's just sitting there. So one night, we were playing for an audience, I think it was in Scotland, and the audience was kind of slow and to get into it, and they finally started getting into it, and we said, come on, get up, and people were getting up, and okay, and there was a particular group of young men in the front row who just they had a bad attitude, and it's tough when you're playing a show and the people in the front are not into it. You can have 10,000 people behind them going crazy, but the people in front are just frowning or yawning or, displaying any kind of thing. It just ruins it. You feel like you've lost. So we had this whole row of young people, and this particular one young gentleman, he was in a Jack Daniels black T-shirt, and he was sitting there with his arms folded, just looking at us, kind of sneering. He just looked like he wanted to fight or something. And so we go through the whole show, and finally it's just really distracted me too much. So we came out for the encore, and I said, everybody was up except for these guys in the front. They just would not get up. And I finally said, get up. Come on, get up. They wouldn't get up, and we're playing the song, or we're playing this kind of punk rock song. And I just jumped off the stage and went up to them. And I was like, get up. And I had my guitar, and I started playing my guitar in their face and sort of taunting them, and which you don't do. If you're a performer, you really don't. You don't attack your audience. And I was almost to the point where I was going to grab them and just pick them up. Next thing I know, the security guards came down, and they put me in a headlock. My whole band was off the stage, except the drummer. He was still playing. And I had about 11, 12 people in my band. So there's a whole melee. There's all these Scottish rogues coming down to get in the brawl, and they're pushing people around, and one of my crew grabs me and throws me back on the stage, and my band is still there in the whole melee, and these young people in the front didn't even get up. Even in all of this, they wouldn't get up. They were just stubborn. They were just completely stubborn. So we went backstage, and we were a little shook up, like I felt bad. I said, we broke the wall. We went and we got in their face. And do you think it was okay? Do you think people thought we were, we're sensitive, individuals. We didn't want to hurt anybody. So we were a little concerned. And then, some of the guys in the band, it's okay. Fuck it, it's rock and roll. These things happen. We were just trying to get them into it. So there was no harm done. So we took the bus back to London, and we get into London, early in the morning, hadn't slept too much, and go in the hotel, we sleep late. about 3 in the afternoon, I'm walking out with one of the guys in the band, and we're looking for some coffee, and we run into my drummer, who was on another bus. And he said, "Hey, it was a crazy gig last night." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You guys left early, but I stayed back, and I was talking to some of the kids, and they're apologizing for the audience not being so, you know, embracive in getting into it." But he said, "Those kids in the front, these kids told me that they were crippled." And me and the other guy in my band kind of grabbed each other, and we lost whatever you have in your body that keeps you standing up. It just went out of us, and we kind of fell on the ground, and I think I grabbed a telephone pole or something, started beating my head into it, and it was just, we felt so horrible. We felt, it was probably one of the worst feelings I've had. I've attacked cripples. And, and then we went up to the hotel. We told some of the other, it was my bass player's birthday, and we sat at the table, and we told him, those kids last night that we went out there, and we tried to get them to get up. They couldn't walk. And he just fell forward, and his head hit the table. And, I was convinced that we weren't going to be allowed in Scotland after that. But they've forgiven us, and, we've learned to, not be so, I don't know, give the audience the benefit of the doubt, If in doubt, just let it ride.